I am good enough for you to come and ask. See, I shared about my wife's forerunner, right? I had prayed for my wife a vehicle. Scripture says a wife is a husband's glory. And I want my wife to be, listen, my wife don't even have to put gas in her vehicle. I do it for her. She hadn't had to put gas. We've been married almost 4 years. She hadn't had to go to the gas station one time. You know why? Because she doesn't have to get her hands dirty. And if she's my glory, if my wife is my glory, then how could I ever be content driving a nicer vehicle than she does? I want her to have the very best. I want her to be seen and known because I know she's proud of me. One of the greatest things I've experienced is my daughter going to accept a grant for us and them getting up there and speaking about the impact that we had. And Stormy starts weeping and she was like, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she was like, I'm just so proud of you and the impact you have on people. My daughter said that. That's how my wife feels. That's taking consistency. My motive, all of it shifted. So anyway, so the day of my wife's birthday, I'd been praying and praying and praying, and then 10 days before her birthday, I was given a truck that was greater and nicer and more beautiful than anything I could have. I didn't even pray for something. I just wanted something to pull the trailer without overheating. And this is all going to come together, I promise. So on her birthday, I'm driving, and he says, go and ask. And I don't ask. I trust God. And he was telling me, favor and eyes of men, go and ask. And so I went and I asked, and I was given a fully loaded, everything you could ever want or imagine. It had custom interior, different than any Forerunner I've ever seen. And that's her favorite part. It was a teak leather. It's like a red leather. It's amazing. Backup cameras, remote start, everything you'd want, right? We drive around that night and we're just crying because of how much in excess it is of what we need. We're talking about before Jesus how we got cars repoed and lost cars and destroyed cars and we loan it to a friend and then come back and they had done some work to it. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It was ticking, so I took the cameras out. Anyway. But we were just so grateful. But even in that, it wasn't enough to prompt me to begin to pray specifically for the needs of this place. Because I've been in a season, I want you to hear, because God will do this. God will do it. In this season, everybody that's in camo, read. I want you to read this. And this is the season that I believe we find ourselves in. But eventually, listen, we begin to walk out the vision that God's given us, which is the second half of what he's going to read. The first half is the flee, the getting the needs met. The second half is somebody else's needs. And that's when motive changes. Read.
Get thee hence and turn thee eastward and hide thyself.
Whoa. Are we King James in that today? Read, give me an NIV. Somebody give me that NIV. Because I want y'all to have a full comprehension. Go, read. Sorry, Bryce.
That's all right.
17, 2 through 16.
Yes, sir. Then the word of the Lord came.
Louder.
Leave here, turn eastward and hide in the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook, and I have directed the ravens to...
Hold on, stop right there. He said, drink from the brook, right? There's going to be clean, fresh water that I'm going to provide for you. Listen, there's a question that says, did he design that brook before the beginning of time just so he could send him there to have a drink? I mean, it's just crazy how God can do things, right? And he says that I'm going to use ravens to feed you. I'm going to meet every need you have in a way that you couldn't even imagine or expect, because it will make no sense. Keep going. And that's this place. Look, that's where you're at right now. God's saying, listen, I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you drink. I'm going to clothe you. Who helped put those uniforms together yesterday? How nice are they?
Nice.
They're freaking nice. They're nice. I'm going to clothe you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to fill you. I'm going to feed you spiritually. I'm going to bring you to this place where all you have to do, we ran in fear, whether it was fear of never being able to not use again, fear of losing our family, fear of prison, whatever it was, he was running from, Jezebel. We were running from a Jezebel of our own. And we got here, and God said, okay, I'll meet all your needs, the basics, right? I promise you, ravens weren't bringing fillets. They weren't bringing medium rare, bacon wrap, it was chunks and pieces. You know what I mean? Keep going.
So he did what the Lord had told him. He went to the Kerith ravine east of the Jordan and stayed there. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook. Sometime later the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of the Lord came to him.
I want y'all to hang on to that real quick. Then the brook dried up. You know, sometimes we won't leave a place until we're forced to. We aren't going to, because there's water, there's food. I get comfortable in just a little bit. And God says, no. You weren't created for you. You weren't created for your comfort. You were created for my good pleasure. And as an obedient son that has been given a vision, I need you now to be the brook. I'm going to dry that one up, because now that you're healed, you're rested, and you're no longer afraid, I need you to be the brook.
And the word of the Lord came to him, go at once to Zarephath in the region of Sidon and stay there. I have directed a widow there to supply you with food. So he went to Zarephath, and when he came to the town gate, a widow was there gathering sticks. He called to her and asked, would you bring me a little water in a jar so I may have a drink? As she was going to get it, he called, and bring me please a piece of bread. As surely as the Lord your God lives.
Listen, how beautiful. Listen, check this out. He said, there's a widow there that will feed you. Man, our expectations sometimes. Know this, you're the one that's meant to feed everyone. You're the one. Listen, your sustenance, your provision will come through the need of others for what God has placed in you. Does that make sense? There's somebody that's going to need you to help fix their steps on their porch. And in return, they're going to give us 8 dozen tamales. You remember that, Elijah? That was probably 3 years ago. That old lady didn't have nothing. You remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Didn't have nothing, no kind of money, but boy, she could cook. Yeah. We needed those tamales that year too. They're delicious. Keep going.
As surely as the Lord your God lives, she replied, I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little olive oil in a jug. I'm gathering a few sticks to take home and make a meal for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die.
Yeah, whoa. You know what?
Eat it and die.
Listen, that place of desperation. Listen, so I need you to just back up with me mentally for a second. He was on the run, afraid for his life. He got taken to a place where he would be sustained, only to be taken to a place where someone else was preparing to die so that they could be sustained. Keep going.
Elijah said to her, don't be afraid. Go home and do as you have said, but first make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have and bring it to me. And then make something for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. The jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land. She went away and did as Elijah had told her. So there was food every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. For the jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry, in keeping with the word of the Lord had spoken by Elijah.
So listen, I want y'all to know that was the word for me today. That was the word God gave me for me. Yesterday, the math on phase 3 and the guys that help teach trade right now with the no job is well over $200 an hour. Right now, I'm having to pay $200 an hour for all of you guys.